A year ago, I posted a video on commercial bookshelf framing on a DIY pole barn. 500,000 views later, you had three major arguments. It bridges too much heat, it won't resist racking, and my 2x6 girts will sag. I'm building a lean-to. I'm gonna answer all three arguments as I do it, and it's all next on Home Pro Hero. Before we get into the build, this video is sponsored by Coveron. I'll tell you more about them later in the video. Okay, here's what we're doing today. We're building a 10x24 lean-to right here on the side of my DIY pole barn. That's about 28x32. Last video, I actually installed these 4 posts. Today, we're gonna use that commercial bookshelf framing to tie the post into the structure, make it all one big unit. I'm framing all 3 walls with a combination of treated and regular wood, 2x6s, 2x8s, and 2x10s. We're gonna frame the lean-to with my DeWalt framer gun. I used it on my first build, the DIY pole barn, did a phenomenal job. Completely happy with it. I'm also going to use a combination of a chainsaw, a circular saw, a table saw, and of course my mobile workbench, which there's a video out on that if you're interested. The lean-to I'm going to be using for my tractor, my mower, my wood splitter, and whatever else I can jam in there. That's pretty much essentially outside tools. So before we frame, we have to make sure that our roof pitch is right for the building. I'm going to run a 4/12 pitch off the side of the wall here. Unfortunately, I have to sacrifice some headroom for that cosmetic look, which I don't have a problem with. It'll be about 7 foot on this side. Thank God I'm only 6 foot. So let's talk about the first benefit of commercial bookshelf framing. The 2x10, the header, we're not gonna screw it or face nail it like traditional pole barn builds. We're gonna put it in a pocket. All that weight's gonna transfer down through the post to the ground where it belongs and not face nailed or screwed on the side just because it's fast and convenient. Now you're probably wondering how I'm gonna get those headers perfectly straight on each one of those posts, and that's where this Hupar laser comes into play. It's gonna give us a nice line that we can mark so our header's perfectly straight across all 4 posts. Since I've already marked this line as a 4/12 pitch coming off the roof, all we gotta do is measure down from that line down to the line that the Hupar laser made, which is 20 1/4. Now we have to go over here, find the line, 20 1/4. So now we're way up here. Same thing with the other 2. Then let's get the speed square, we'll mark them off. We'll mark the pockets. We'll be ready to cut them. Make sure this thing doesn't hit me on the head now. You got it? I've got 2 videos on the same process, cutting these pockets for these headers. Online. So if you're interested, check those videos out. Ooh, it about got me, almost got me. Not too bad. All right, next one. Ooh, about got me. Don't forget, I'm on Facebook and Instagram. That's extra content that you don't see on YouTube. And behind the scenes stuff as I'm building it real time. Feels like it's snowing out here. Oh, got that line off. All right, that was easy. I'm marking the pockets with 1.5 inches on both sides. Then we're gonna come down about 9 1/4 inches. That will fit those 2x10s perfect. We're gonna chew that out right there. Same thing on this side. All right, this one's ready to cut. I wonder how easy it's gonna be. You wanna try it real quick? Okay, here goes nothing. Hopefully I don't need the jig. I think it's gonna be a lot easier if I don't. I need to get up high enough where I can see it. On the video, on the other 2 videos I did, I used the jig to make this happen. I'm gonna kind of somewhat freeball this one. All right, not too bad. Screwed up a little bit of it, but no, not too bad. Let's cut that other side real quick. There's the first one. She's not real pretty, but she'll work. There you go. That works. Yeah, kind of ugly, guys. Do better on the second one, right? We got 3. All right, let's knock them out. Cut the bottom of these little pockets out because I didn't do a great job on that first one. So I got this set for 1.5 inches here, so it should do a lot better job. Got the line mark too. There we go, that's a lot better. Halfway to the post, which is about 98 3/4. 98 3/4 is our first one. 98 3/4. Just barely, look. I guess it sometimes pays off to have a sliding miter saw. This one time, 6 boards, guys. Don't waste your money. They're huge and bulky. Not that hard. Okay, here we go. So liquid nails. You use liquid nails? Let me know in the comments what you think of it, or any kind of adhesive like this. I'm a big fan. Why not? It's cheap, and you ever try to get anything off this stuff? It's almost impossible. See that gap down there we kind of screwed up? We're gonna fix that right now. We're gonna temporarily screw these in, and then we'll come back later and get them really good. All right, not too bad, right? For screwing that first one up. Might have screwed that first post up, but it's flush. A little proud there, but we'll be all right. Okay, exact same thing on the other side, other than no joke. Okay, let's have some fun. I think they're 3/4 inch, 5-inch screws. We'll lock this all together. Got tons of them. Look at that. Oh yeah, I forgot to tell you, we do that on the opposite side too. There you go. That's nice and secure. Speaking of secure, let's talk about our sponsor, Coveron. Some of you may or may not know I have 3 decades in law enforcement, and the calls that bothered me the most weren't the break-ins. It was identity theft. Somebody at their kitchen table, going through a stack of paperwork, trying to prove they didn't open credit cards in a state they've never been. Unfortunately, there's no report that I or another police officer can write that fixes that problem. Here's what no one tells you. Antivirus, password managers, credit alerts, all of that reduces your risk for sure, but none of it gets your money back. Coveron does both. It watches the dark web and your credit and tells you exactly when something shows up where it shouldn't. And if for some reason you do get hit, they have up to $2 million in identity theft recovery costs. And they'll also put you in touch with people that can undo it and fix the problems that you're experiencing. Check it out. The link is in the description below. You can use Home Pro Hero. The first 100 people get 20% off. Now back to the build. All right, as much as I hate doing this, I have to do it. I have to start tearing apart what I just did last year. So what we have to do is we have to actually saw on both sides of the post, bottom, this side and that side, so we can expose it so we can tie the wall system into the existing building. Get it knocked out and saw it open and bring it back when it's done. Okay, I've got my Hupar laser out. I've got it shooting on a crack right here where the post meets the OSB. So that's exactly where this needs to line up at. I'm gonna screw it. Cool, let's get a level on it. Double check it. That's pretty good. Using our Hupar rotary laser again. There's my mark. We know it's level. Measure to the top. And we're about 32 3/8. 32 3/8. 32 3/8 is right there. And then our line is going to be right here. That's where it goes. Notch goes towards the outside. So I'm not sure if you can see or not, but our skirt board will actually plug into this notch, both sides. So that makes the skirt board flush inside the 6x6s, just like the headers. All right, there we go. So that one just matched the same height as this one. And look at this, inside corner is ready for finishing. Another feature of bookshelf framing. Now here's the thing that traditional framing can't do. My girts sit between the posts, not hung off the outside with nails. So when this wall wants to rack, these posts want to lean towards each other. Every one of those boards on bookshelf framing are solid wood struts bearing right between them. The post can't move without crushing the solid lumber. That's bearing, not nails. And it gets even better. When I nail my vertical girts, I nail into the post one way, and when I nail my horizontal girts, they get nailed a different way. Crisscrossing nail patterns always make things stronger. Okay, now we got to dress this back corner. I haven't stripped it yet, but I'm gonna do it right now. Probably wouldn't be doing this honestly if it wasn't for YouTube. I had so much demand for the pole barn, and I could use the space too, so it's a good thing for both, I guess. But I ideally probably wouldn't have done it if it wasn't for YouTube. Probably should have prepped all this before I got the video going, but thought you'd want to see it. Right there's perfect. Thank you, lasers. Okay, we'll turn this one off too. Hey, just FYI, you need to have good lasers, and I'm telling you, Hupar, been a long time partner, Home Pro Hero, good company, great people, great products. So if you're interested, I'll put links for both these lasers in the description. We'll start with this one from the ground up. 90 3/8. 90 3/8. I got this 2x6 toning and groove. I used it on the barn, and I'm gonna use it here. Stuff's super expensive, by the way, but it's good stuff, and that's why. Can you hold that in for me? All right, here's the first one. People complained in the first video that I put this upside down. I did it on purpose. I want the groove up top for the fact I get more down at the bottom when I got both pieces together. They said water would actually collect up here. If you got water collecting inside your walls, you got bigger problems than upside downness. All right, I dug out a little bit. I knew this one would be a little bit tight on the ground down below. Like that. Okay, here we go, about 90.5 or so. Pretty simple, right? Plug it in there, line it up, everything's inside the wall. Now 22.5-inch blocks here and there. And then put another piece across the top. Pretty simple, it's like a pancake method. Okay, so then look at this. So this is stacks on top. Now you don't necessarily need those blocks. People in my last video said that you didn't need them, and you don't. But then you have to toenail these, and it's a lot harder to do. I'd rather just spend the extra money and make it easier to nail these. But then also it makes this 6x6 actually 7x7, or at least a 7x6, because it beefs up the post that much more, makes it much more stronger. Boom. Now the reason why these aren't going to sag, it's real simple. Yeah, you can sit there and say it might sag here in the middle, but it's already pretty firm, right? And then you have the issue where both the outside siding and the inside finish smashes together and makes a sandwich out of it. There's no way it can sag with nails right here and right here. So it defeats that totally. Now, if you get nuts and say you don't believe me, you can always put a 2x6 in the middle. It's not going to hurt anything. It's easy to do. I'm not going to. Block comes up, butts up against the bottom of the header, more support on the headers. 114.5 coming across the bottom. Now these are a little bit longer than 8 foot. I don't really like going that long, but for now it's fine. And when they pour the floor, it should be fine too. So right now I'm just gonna leave it as is. I won't be able to get 2 here for the fact my asphalt's in the way. I'm up against the pavement, so I'm not sure if it's even needed. So you already know the nails are going into the big board here. And then I'm nailing downward, then nailing back into the side too. I'm crisscrossing my nails everywhere I go. I like how easy it is to tie into the existing barn. As long as you can find a post, it's money. Yeah, it's right on the money. Got lucky on that. There we go. Might be raining, but I'm getting lucky with cuts. The Hupar measuring tool's on the money most of the time. Now this one, we're gonna go all the way up here. We'll be a little bit short at the top, but that's fine. We're gonna end up gable on the ends anyways. We won't do that in today's video. And there we go. All right, should be good. Looks good. Here we go. So there's the corner. Because we spent a little bit more time on the outside, the inside's done and ready. That's simple. Okay, let's see how fast I can do this. I pissed people off in the first video because they said I should take my time and do it right, which I do it right, I just do it fast. It's not that hard, guys. All right, last big debate, and this was the biggest one in the comments. A bunch of you said bookshelf framing is a thermal disaster, but here's what you gotta weigh. Traditional framing has thermal bridging too. It's not a game changer. And on top of that, my building's gonna be stronger and tighter because everything's concealed inside the wall. There's no gaps to fill between the 2x4s and the posts and whatever the exterior siding is. And at the end of the day, it's a pole barn. It's not a home. So if I'm losing 10% in my DIY pole barn, I can live with that. I think it's a good trade. Think about it. I got wood in between posts, right? These boards would have to snap for the most part. When you hang them on the outside, the only thing that's really stopping the building from racking is the nails. So if the nails start failing, the whole building fails. That's why you see a bunch of blowovers, normally traditional pole barns, because they're built cheap. People pay people to build them and they build them as cheap as possible. So I don't know exactly the width of my garage door yet. I'm not gonna do any framing here at all. I may even wait until the concrete gets put in and just frame the garage door on top of the concrete. It might be easier at this point. Normally I would put a post here and a post here, but that's 2 more posts in a small area for like a 6-foot garage door. I don't want to waste the money. This is bookshelf framing. So there you have it. Racking, sag, thermal bridging, the 3 things that you argued the most about in those comments. Is bookshelf framing perfect? Yes. I mean, no. Would you or have you done bookshelf framing or traditional framing on your barn? Drop a comment, let's have the debate. I hope you liked the video. If you did, make sure you give it a thumbs up so other people can see it. Make sure you're subscribed. Take care, and I'll see you next time.